Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to look at the NFL Fantasy Quarterback tier list for the 2024 season. So quarterback's probably the most famous position, particularly for us in Australia that might not follow it too closely. They're usually the main playmaker. A lot of the stuff goes through them. But I guess because of that, there is usually only one per team. And consequently, on our fantasy teams, there's generally only one per team. And for that reason, they're usually not the first players picked. The exception to that is where we have what's called a super flex. So for those that haven't played draft before, a flex is a outfield player, so running back, wide receiver, or tight end, that you can just slot in as like a utility in your team. But some formats involve a super flex, which is any of those positions, but you can also have a second quarterback. So in a super flex league, because quarterbacks do score the most out of all the players, you do want to try to get two good ones. So you often go a lot earlier on quarterbacks. But in a standard league, because there's so many quarterbacks that score very similarly, you sort of can wait a bit and you try to get the running backs and wide receivers in particular that have that higher upside and have the bigger difference in scores. So, depending on the format that you play, will sort of depend when you pick these players. I guess speaking of when the sort of league that you play, we've got our Supercoach Nuffs League open. So if you haven't yet joined in, feel free. I'll add the description below this video. We will only need one quarterback. You may want to draft a second one for your bench as cover. So we'll look at the top sort of 20 to 24 options, and then you can make your decisions from there. Excuse me. So I guess in terms of the elite level, there's probably three popular options. Well, definitely two, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. After that, a couple people will throw in the likes of a Lamar Jackson. Some will throw in Patty Mahomes. And I'm also going to put up Anthony Richardson. And the reason for that, and I'm going to sort of be a bit sacrilegious and push Mahomes down, is I guess what these four quarterbacks all have in common is they also run the ball very well. So generally, quarterbacks will pass the ball to other players to run or catch and play on. But a few quarterbacks, such as these guys, also like to run the ball themselves. They'll just take it and run it up. Traditionally, quarterbacks don't do that because they're quite small compared to the rest of their players. Not as fast. It's really just about standing and delivering. Think about like a Tom Brady as that elite sort of what they call pocket passer. But these guys in fantasy have a lot of upside because you get points for running the ball. You also get points for touchdowns, which is why I've got Jalen Hurts as my number one. So essentially, I knew he was a mobile quarterback, and I brought him into my team the first year I played fantasy. And he was part of the team that killed it for me. So I've been very loyal to him ever since. And then last year they brought in the tush push, which you may have heard of, but essentially it's when they're very close to the goal line, they'll just push the defensive line back, and Jalen Hurts will just, go that 1 meter that he needs over the line and get the touchdown points, rather than a lot of quarterbacks would feed it off to a running back to do that job. He just does it himself. So it is a little bit of a cheat code having someone like Jalen Hurts in your team. So in a regular draft, you could probably leave it till around the start of the third round of the draft. Generally your first two rounds, you're trying to get a running back, a wide receiver. Some people like to do 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs. There's different strategies around that. Just get your best players, I think, at the start. But if he comes up in round 3, that's usually when I'm trying to get a bit of Jalen Hurts. In a super flex league, if I've got the first pick, I'm going Jalen Hurts. Again, there might be a little bit of personal bias, but he's just that good for fantasy. Josh Allen's very similar. Loves to run the ball. He's a lot bigger body than Jalen Hurts, but yeah, Hurts does squat quite a bit too, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, Josh Allen's a bit bigger body, so he can break tackles, and for that reason, he is quite mobile for a quarterback. So um, might just be a little bit limited by the receiving options. He's had Stephon Diggs in the past to rely a lot on, but excuse me, Diggs has now gone to the Texans. So there's a bit of talk about Dalton Kincaid could become a bigger target, the tight end, but we'll just wait and see how that plays out. Lamar Jackson is probably like the elite, also the original dual threat quarterback in modern league in terms of his ability to run. They have paired him up with Derrick Henry this season though, so may just sort of limit his running a little bit. But at the same time, having Derrick Henry there on the field might also draw a bit of attention away and create gaps for Lamar. So it's one of those things where he has the ability, it could work out. So yeah, I'd have him as an elite dual threat quarterback. And Anthony Richardson's the last one. So was super hyped up last season as a rookie for his dual threat. Unfortunately, he's sort of got a couple of injuries and never really got going, so we didn't get to see it in full effect. Um, but I think if he can stay healthy this year, he'll be in the conversation for maybe not QB1. Again, sort of similar to Allen, he's a bit limited in his options for passing. Michael Pittman, probably Jonathan Taylor. After that, not too much going on. But he could lead them for rushing as far as quarterbacks go, which would obviously then bring his overall score up. And so for that reason, I'll put Pat Mahomes in the second tier just because he doesn't have the running upside. But, in terms of just his passing, he'll outscore a lot of the other guys just because he's so good at passing the ball. So I'll put him at fifth pretty comfortably. After that, just trying to think who I want to go to next. Probably just going to go with like a Joe Burrow. So, probably after Pat Mahomes, the next best passer. So, got the likes of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins to throw to. David Njoku, I believe, is a Bengal as well. I'm trying to remember. It's hard to remember 32 teams worth of players. So, yeah, definitely, got him in that tier. Who's next? Just trying to work it out. After that, I'm going to throw Kyler Murray in. Might be a little bit high, but he's the dual threat. Probably just that tier below these guys in terms of elite running. More of a scrambler type. Will run to get himself out of trouble. Also, might not have the weapons in the offense. Got to see how Marvin Harrison Jr. goes, the rookie. A lot of people are getting on Trey McBride at tight end. We'll talk about him in the tight end video. Could be that reliable option. But yeah, it's probably just that stops him being elite. But does have the ability to generate points through the running game. Dak Prescott, I might even drop him down a bit. But elite pass, he's got CeeDee Lamb there. He can target. I think I want him on the next tier, maybe. Yeah, okay, we'll drop him down. It's not a big jump, but I think it is still a jump down. You can also throw in the likes of CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy. Sort of have a lot of options in the offense to target. But, and CJ Stroud does have a little bit of running. I know a lot of people have got CJ Stroud up here, even up into here. But, I think he's probably just that little tier below. I guess in terms of the rookies, there's a lot of rookie quarterbacks. I think Jaden Daniels is the biggest dual threat rookie quarterback. Just being at Washington, there might not be the sort of wide receivers to hit with the passing game. So, a lot of his points might come from the running. And because it's an unknown quantity, I think, if you're playing a 12-team league, low level RB1, I think, is fair. I guess, probably got to throw Aaron Rodgers in there too. sort of elite level passer in terms of like Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes. Um, just doesn't quite have the weapons around him at the Jets. He does have Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, which are two very good options. Um, Alan Lazard, but he does not run the ball at all. He's pure pocket passer. So at least, Purdy, Prescott can scramble a bit. Rodgers is not that guy. um, so on the next tier, I'm going to put Caleb Williams in there. He's pretty one I'm pretty interested in. Um, so I guess, like in my um, what's it called? I've forgotten. Auction league. Just had a complete brain meltdown then. In my auction league, we do play as super flex. So I'm probably going to actually try and hit like two of these elite quarterbacks. And if I can get Caleb Williams on the cheap as my bench option, I'm going to be pretty happy with that. The Bears have got him some nice weapons with Moore, Allen, um, and Adunze, the rookie. And then DeAndre Swift as well as a running back that can catch passes. Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert will also support in the running back role. So pretty excited to see how the Bears offense goes. Um, and yeah, I think Caleb Williams will sort of, do well, maybe just outside the top 12. So happy to have him as my bench option, even in a redraft format. If I can get him on the bench, I'm pretty happy. Baker Mayfield's solid. You could have him. Deshaun Watson offers a bit of running upside, so we'll throw him in there. Um, Justin Herbert's been a gun in the past, but just doesn't seem to have any weapons there at the Chargers this year. They've seemed to traded them all away. I'm not sure what's going on there. Probably throw touchdown Jesus and Tua in there as well. Decent quarterbacks, got particularly Tua's got some really good assets to throw to. For Tua's probably just injuries that cost him. He could be up here a bit further. And Trevor Lawrence is sort of not, blown it away like everyone hoped he would as that talent. And then the final category, I'll put in Bryce Young. He's got Deontay Johnson there at the Panthers, plus a couple of exciting rookies. Excuse me. So I'll be interested to see how he goes. Jared Goff. Matt Stafford's obviously got, Nakua and Cup to throw to. Geno Smith, has probably surprised people in the past. I might be selling him short there. Kirk Cousins is always like a solid option, if not spectacular. Who else? Maybe I might throw Russell Wilson in there, and Will Levis, might be the last of the top options. Um, Russell's done it in the past, probably a bit older now, so doesn't run quite as much, but could do it if need be. And Will Levis, he sort of broke out a bit last year, but interesting to see how he'll go. Outside of that, Jordan Love, put some respect on him. He's up here. Probably a bit higher, actually, if I'm being completely honest. He was quite good last year, just solid, not spectacular. I guess in terms of the rest, you've got Aiden O'Connell, Bo Nix. Well, Bo Nix is a rookie. Aiden O'Connell sort of won the role last year, but not convincing. Daniel Jones and Derek Carr, are starting quarterbacks, but not that interesting. Drake May, JJ McCarthy should probably go up here. He's got Justin Jefferson to throw to. Drake May, rookie quarterback, not much support for him. And then these last three, Justin Fields, Michael Penix, Sam Howell, all backups in their teams. There might be sort of a succession plan between Penix and Cousins, but I'd imagine for now Cousins starts. Fields is stuck behind Wilson, and Sam Howell will be behind Geno Smith. So, I think that's the quarterbacks. As I said, if you're just doing a simple redraft league, 12 teams, these sort of elite guys you can target around round 3. And then it sort of just slides away around 4 and 5, 6 and 7. Or you can just wait until late. You can obviously fill up on wide receivers, running backs. Because even though we've got the likes of a Tua Tagovailoa down here, the difference between him and Jalen Hurts might not be as much as, the difference between Christian McCaffrey and, a bottom C tier running back. So just something to keep in mind. Some people like to go the elite quarterbacks. Excuse me. As I said, I developed a man crush on Jalen Hurts early, so I'm usually an elite quarterback kind of guy. But particularly, with the redraft league we're running, so just another quick pump up for that. Um, I might actually try the strategy of just, cheapening out at quarterback and, really trying to pump up my running back, wide receiver rooms that way. So yeah, so that's the quarterbacks. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. If you're interested in joining the league, remember the link will be in the description below this video. Give us a like, obviously, if you enjoy the NFL content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.